Welcome to The Whole Pineapple. I'm Ruby Boris.
And I'm Ann Judge. The Whole Pineapple is a podcast about wellness focused around fertility. And on these weekly mini episodes, we bring you bite-sized ideas for you to snack on.
Like breathing exercises, book reviews. Maybe we'll review some scientific research, or we'll share some wellness and fertility stories from our listeners.
So if you're looking for a tip or a trick related to your fertility and well-being, then you've come to the right place.
Let's dig in.
Three, 2, 1. No, we can't do a better clap.
It's going to take us a while to get back into the groove.
Yeah. It's okay. Self-love and acceptance and just peacefulness for the clap that was. And it doesn't have to be perfect.
Exactly. We found our rhythm once. We'll find it again.
That's right. And if you're confused listening, this is the Whole Pineapple Snack Edition. I'm Ann Judge here again with Jamie Mamiga, and we try and start our recordings with a clap that is synchronized. And sometimes we are not good at the synchronization, but that's okay because we find our rhythm together anyway. And that's, a little bit what we're talking about today. And this whole concept of kind of alignment and breaks and pauses, that February for a lot of people can seem like kind of that dark part of the year. Like I think when winter first hits, it's kind of new and exciting. And then like you just get tired of it and want the sun to come back already. And so I think we thought this would be a good time to talk about breaks and what does it mean to take a break and all the little things that go along with that. And then hopefully you'll guide us through a meditation and we'll feel like we're on a vacation, whether or not we actually are.
I'm sure I can use that too. So it'll be nice to do. February is, that time. I always think of that as kind of a time of darkness for me. I think I shared with you earlier. And that's when my birthday is. And where I grew up in Montana, that's like the coldest time of year. So you couldn't even really go out sledding because it was always inevitably the time where it was like negative numbers for like a week or two that fell right on my birthday. And so, anyway, so I think this is perfectly timed for me.
And I feel like a lot of people, beyond the physical go on a vacation, but that whole idea of taking any kind of break or pause from the fertility roller coaster can be really hard for people to accept. But it can be so, so important because you don't want your entire life to be dictated by the schedule. And you really need those mental times that you're thinking about other things, but I know it can be hard for people to give themselves permission to do anything that's not actively working towards that fertility goal.
This journey is just so all-encompassing, right? It overtakes everything. And like we talked about so many times, there's nothing in your life that's untouched by it. And so it actually is really important that you strategically put things into your life that are not touched by this, where you get breaks, not just periodically, but consistently. That you have some little breaks in your day, or that you have areas in your life where you're taking care of you, or you're nourishing your relationship if you're in a partnership with somebody where this stuff isn't invited. You need breaks from it, but also people are really scared to take breaks from treatment itself because there's already so much waiting in between cycles. You've got this whole month or more, depending on what kind of treatment you're doing, where you're kind of stuck in this waiting period. Equate this journey to sort of emotional whiplash. You're in this like hurry up and wait constantly. It's just kind of jerking you around.
That's kind of what travel's like right now, right? You're trying to get somewhere and you get there and your flight's canceled and then you get there finally, but they lost your luggage. And so, yeah, it's this constant up and down and feeling like, when am I ever going to get to enjoy my destination? And that's kind of what the fertility stuff is like, right? Like it's that so many hurdles along the way and not exactly knowing what the path is going to be. But if you're always in that mindset, there's no way to not get completely run down. But I think the other hard part is everyone's had that experience of annoying, although loving family friends being like, just take a vacation. It'll just happen. You need to relax. And so sometimes there's this like resentment of the idea that if you say we're going to take a pause from trying, that's like giving into that notion that maybe you've been doing something wrong by trying too hard or by going actively into the fertility cycle.
Oh gosh, that's so true. But it's so important to take those breaks, especially when you are feeling really, really run down. When you are at a place where you're feeling like you are having difficulty accessing hopefulness, where you are not feeling like yourself at all, you just feel like you've sort of lost yourself or your relationship or aspects of your relationship or aspects of yourself, taking a minute to find ways to put the joy back in and feel like yourself again, have some control and autonomy over your body again, right? Without having to worry about all of the things. That's immensely helpful sometimes. Sometimes we just really need that.
And I think if we think about physical vacations, for a lot of people, you find that you come back afterwards more engaged and ready to be in your real life because you've had a pause from it. And I think the same thing can definitely happen with fertility treatment, that often when people do give themselves that permission, and it doesn't mean you're going to go away for 6 months. I mean, it can be even as short as a couple weeks that you're just not going to really be tracking or thinking about stuff, or a cycle or two. None of that is going to change your overall outcome or prognosis. It can be actually a really helpful thing if you go into it a little bit more resilient, a little bit more, like you said, feeling like yourself and ready to then be kind of buffered or buttressed to be ready to like engage in this journey. Sorry, we just watched Glass Onion. And so now I've got buttress as a new word that I want to work into my vocabulary.
I just watched that too. Yeah, I love that.
And yes, that's probably not the kind of vacation you want to go on, like
no,
a murder
definitely
mystery
not.
vacation.
No.
But it shows how people are different selves, when they're out of their environment. And sometimes that can be a good thing to be able to refocus. And then when you come back, be a little bit more ready to go through it.
Have a little more reserve.
Mm-hmm.
Just a little bit more in the fuel tank to be able to kind of put towards it. Because like you said, when it's just kind of month after month after month, it's just you get really run down. And the race that we've talked about before, you're running kind of at full speed, throwing all your resources at it at the same level all the time. And that's just not sustainable. And so sometimes you need to take a minute and breathe and stop so that you have something to draw from again. You can fill your bucket.
Now, do you see scenarios when people are partnered where that's a challenge because they're not on the same page? Like one person wants to take a break and the other person doesn't?
Yeah, definitely.
How do you help people have a conversation in that scenario?
That's hard because I feel like every partnership is so different and communication in every partnership is so different. But I think that, being able to see where the other person is coming from, really truly trying to stand in their shoes and hear them. I think what happens so many times in relationships is we have had so many conversations and we think we know how our partner is going to react.
So when they're talking, it's a good time to be thinking about what you're going to say next instead of really listening to them because you already know how it's going to work out. Yeah.
That's what happens, more often than not is we're sort of anticipating the other person. And so we're sort of thinking ahead in the conversation about what our response is going to be, what our rebuttal is going to be, or what our side of it is. But when we do that, we're not really thinking about what their side of it is. We're not really hearing them. And that's what tends to escalate those conversations is because when people don't feel heard, then they feel like they have to talk louder to feel heard, right? They got to say it again. They got to say it with, more emphatically and louder. Pretty quick, those conversations are escalating into arguments. So I think being able to kind of take a minute and be like, okay, I'm going to fully listen to you and where you are and what feels important to you and what are the parts that you're struggling with the idea of taking a break. And then I want the same in return, right? I want you to stand in my shoes or try to fully listen to me and what my concerns are, my fears are. Sometimes it can be helpful to just, instead of thinking in your own head what you're going to say next, repeating what they say right after them. You can feel a little bit like being a parrot, but it can really let people know that you're hearing them. Okay, what I heard you say is blah, 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 right? And just, you can use their words or you can summarize it in your own words and then check in with them. Is that correct? Is there anything else that you would add to that? Did I get it right? Anything you would shift or change, right? Give them the opportunity to say everything they need to say without putting your 2 cents in or how you feel or what you think. And then you get a turn to do that too, where I feel like just slowing that conversation down and really focusing on hearing the other person because listening and hearing are 2 different things.
Definitely. If any one person is verbalizing that need for a break, I think that's a really real and valid concern. And so many areas of conflict in fertility treatment when people are not on the same page, there's not always room for compromise. If one person really wants to do IVF and the other person's like, I'm never doing IVF, or one person's like, I'm ready for donor egg, and the other person's like, I am not. There's not a great middle ground between those. But this is an area where I think you do have a lot of room for compromise, where you could kind of, what are the concerns that each person has? Is it you're worried about wasting time? Is it that you feel like your stress level is going to be higher if you're not actively working towards something? If you really, as you said, hear what the person's real concern is. Like, where is that emotion and that resistance coming from? I think this is an area that most people can find a way to have a pause. Again, sometimes I like pause more than break. Break can imply it's this like firm, now we do nothing, but just some sort of pulling back, and that can be different for different people, can let you connect with each other and feel a lot more ready to consider getting a little bit more active about treatment again.
I think we've been talking about this in sort of like larger pauses, right? Taking a break from treatment. But I think that this is also important in your daily life throughout treatment. Taking some breaks, right? I mean, I really encourage people to sort of schedule times to talk about this with their partner, a couple times a week that are, 20 to 30-minute conversation chunks, because somebody's going to flood emotionally sooner than the other. And so that's usually a pretty good window of time that both people can sit in there and really stay engaged without getting emotionally flooded. I wouldn't encourage longer than that, but having those a couple times a week so everybody knows that a conversation is going to happen, that they, if we don't finish it in this one, we have another one coming up that's scheduled together that we know we're going to talk about. It's not bleeding into the rest of our time together necessarily. It allows you the opportunity to maybe put a pin in it so you can enjoy your date, or you can enjoy, you can focus on work. And then really scheduling in time where this stuff is not invited too, in, where you get a break from it just in your daily life. Like we've talked about before, when you're in fertility treatment, your life is on hold. Somebody put a giant hold button on your life, and that changes how we spend our time, right? That changes how we build positive memories.
Or even as we're talking about vacations, I have a lot of people that's the whole reason they have no vacations planned, because they're like, I can't plan that big trip because hopefully I'll be pregnant and I can't go, and then I won't want to travel at that time frame. And so you feel like you put on hold, anything that might potentially not work with the life that you hope you're going to be having at that point, but you don't know if you're going to be in that situation. And then you have other things to look forward to. Because at least in some studies, like that seems to be one of the key reasons that people feel more refreshed after vacations. It's not just the actual time away, but it's all the anticipation of looking forward to it, of planning. Once you get back, you reflect on the memories. It's only a small part of it is that time gone, but it's having that anticipation and that inability to, I think, sometimes look forward to other things because you're so focused just on the fertility goal. It can be really, really hard.
Yeah, and life is happening right now. Like as you're doing all of this, life is happening. You don't want to look back at this and be like, oh my gosh, like I don't even remember the last, all I remember is this during the last X amount of time of my life, right? Months, years, whatever it is for you in your journey. You want to be able to look back and be like, yes, we went through one of the hardest things we could ever go through for X amount of time. And also, do you remember that time that we did this? Or do you remember that, take little trips too, It doesn't have to be a big vacation, although those are great. You can take, little weekend getaways or you can plan little things too. I know it's hard around cycles, but it's really important, especially if that's something that rejuvenates you as a person. Some people like travel is their thing.
Yeah.
That's been lacking for so many people just with we've had two hold buttons, right? Pandemic and fertility. So,
and you're right that things can be local and things can be small is also important when people feel like they're already financially tapped out because of fertility treatment, right? And so they're like, I can't fly off to Greece like last onion. But yeah, I mean, like you talk about last season, the whole tree bath idea of just having some time that you're out and in the world and enjoying nature, or even if it's that brief moment that you're going to guide us through in your head where you're taking a mental vacation to someplace nice, that can give your brain some of those same sensations of peace and relaxation. And it's such an important thing for people to do.
And you can do tiny little things. I think we've talked about this before probably, but how often do we remember to turn down the light? In the evening, on a weeknight, just turn down the lights and light a candle and play nice music that you enjoy. It doesn't have to be big things. That's a break in and of itself from just the daily grind. When you step away from the television, you step away from things that sort of suck time away from us. They can feel relaxing. They're fun. We all enjoy it. And also sometimes it's not always helping us in the way we want. It's not giving us that rejuvenation or that break. It's not helping us relax quite in the way that we think or want. And so taking a minute in your daily life to just be present in that moment by yourself, with your partner, do something that you really enjoy that makes you feel like that's a break.
Totally. I mean, you can think back on what are some of the memories you have from the past, like the vacation that I was just on. Every morning, because of the time zone change, we were up early and we were just like having coffee outside where it's quiet, just reading books and quiet together. And it was so nice. And I was like, you know what? We could do this at home too. We could actually like get up early and sit outside and read for like 10 minutes before starting the day. And I'm not sure that we will, but it would be a good thing to do. You know, you realize you can have that sense of like calm and sort of peaceful start to the day, even in your daily life too.
You absolutely can. And it's easier said than done. I think many of us struggle to sacrifice the sleep on a work night to get up early. But I think we would all feel better if we did, you know, if we took that time to start our day out with not such a cortisol rush of like, or adrenaline rush of like, oh, the alarm and shower and, but being able to, just have some time. I actually knew somebody who used to do that religiously. Like every morning they got up and spent 30 minutes to an hour with their partner, connecting, just hanging out, being relaxed.
That's where having the dog has always been helpful, because that's what we do. Get up early, make coffee, walk the dog together, kind of chat about the day. And like the few times, like if we've been the day before vacation, we boarded the dog and she's not there. It's like when you get up and you don't have that dog force, it's like, set the alarm back. Never mind. News. So I'm grateful to have the dog that forces me to get up early and do that. Because it's true. Like on the days that I skip it, I definitely feel off balance, like that slower start and having that time. And I love the morning walk too, because it gets you up and moving. Right now it's still dark, but eventually I'll be seeing the sunrise when we're doing it. And I do feel like it just sets you up for a much better day than being rushed. So
yeah, you can ease into your day or ease out of your day into your evening.
Yes, it's our before bed walk too. We have our first thing in the morning, our last thing before bed, and yeah.
Oh, that sounds nice.
Sometimes it's like in the pouring Seattle rain and it's not nice and you're just like, go potty, Luna. Go potty, Luna. But most of the time, it's still a good thing.
Yeah, we just had some pretty extreme negative, below 40 degree temperatures. That was not super fun to walk the dog in. Like, oh my gosh, we're all freezing.
Well, I'm excited for you to take us on a mental vacation together. And thanks again, as always, for being here to help us be more mindful.
Begin by finding a comfortable position, either by sitting or lying down. Allow your hands to rest gently in your lap or at your sides, and begin taking deep, soothing breaths in and out at your own pace. Today, we're going to take a short vacation together to the beach. You've been looking forward to this peaceful break for a long time. Our journey begins on a sandy path surrounded by beautiful tropical trees and brightly colored flowers. In the distance, you can hear the sounds of birds chirping and the dull and consistent rhythm of the waves. And you feel a cool and pleasant breeze brush lightly against your skin, keeping you comfortable on this very warm and sunny day. As you begin your walk along the path, you notice the sweet smell of the flowers and breathe in deeply. As you breathe out, you become aware of the dappled sunlight filtering through the trees. It feels warm and soothing on your face and shoulders. Stay here for a moment and allow the sunlight and fresh air to begin to melt some of your stress away. After a time, your mind returns to the sound of the waves calling you gently back to the path. As you near the edge of the trees, you're greeted by the sight of a seemingly endless horizon, where the deep blue sky meets the water, separated only by sunlight glittering and shimmering brightly along the surface. You begin to feel the soft spray of the ocean on your face, which feels so welcome and rejuvenating. You reach the end of the path and exit the shade of the forest, removing your shoes to feel the warm sand under your feet. The beach is long and wide and stretches as far as you can see to either side of you. The water is a beautiful, clear aqua blue, and although you can hear the roar of large waves breaking in the distance, they're soft and gentle here. As you move closer to the water, you notice that your feet are beginning to feel very warm on the sun-baked beach. So you playfully wiggle your toes until you reach the cool, wet sand underneath. Take a moment here to feel your senses. Notice the powerful, life-giving sunshine as it warms you, the refreshing ocean mist on your face, and the cool sand between your toes, providing relief from the sun's strength. Be present in this moment. Take a few deep breaths here and allow your senses to be overcome by the beauty around you. Notice any tension or stress still residing in your body, and allow the warm sun to simply melt it away. Breathe in relaxation and light, and allow it to spread freely through your body as you take those deep, soothing breaths that match the rhythm of the waves. In and out. When you're ready, continue your walk along the beach. As you near the water, the sand goes from being soft, warm, and loose to being cool, firm, and sturdy. A small rolling wave washes gently over your feet, and you enjoy the satisfying feeling of the cool water swirling around your ankles. As the water recedes, the sand slips and shifts with it in a soothing way, and the bubbly froth tickles your skin. You follow the wave deeper into the water. It is clean and clear, and the temperature is very pleasant and refreshing. You are welcome to walk further into the water if you would like. You may choose to swim or to simply float. You are perfectly safe here. Allow yourself to relax even further, just enjoying this time in the ocean, feeling the mixture of the water's gentle, rocking rhythm and the warmth of the sun. Stay here for as long as you would like, just breathing deeply. Now feeling calm and refreshed, you walk back out of the water and onto the warm beach. You stroll along the edge of the water, occasionally dipping your toes in, and you allow the sun's warm glow to slowly dry you. You have no worries here, no stress, only deep relaxation. As you walk along, you notice small shells and colorful pieces of sea glass dotting the shore. You take time to pick up and hold these beautiful mementos. They're gifts from the ocean that are just for you. Up ahead, you notice a lounge chair under the shade of a big umbrella. On it, there is a soft towel, and there is a cool and fruity drink and a delicious snack waiting nearby. You sit or lie down on the chair, and you allow your body to be caressed by the gentle ocean breeze. You feel completely at peace, and you may stay here in this peacefulness for as long as you would like. When you're ready to return from your vacation, do so slowly. Allow your muscles to stretch as you bring your awareness back to the present moment, bringing with you those feelings of calm and relaxation. And as you gently open your eyes, allow yourself to take a few more deep breaths in and out, becoming fully alert. Notice that you are refreshed and that you have renewed energy, and know that you can return to this visualization as often as you wish. Namaste.